Hey, hey, hey. Okay, we are live, and this is not Lindy with me today, and we are starting a little bit late today. And that is because I didn't realize that Lindy had a follow-up appointment with her daughter from her surgery. And so last week we had to skip because of the eye surgery. And then we were planning on coming on today. And I just messaged Lindy and she said, "Oh, oops, actually I don't know if she told me. She probably told me that she she wasn't going to make it. It just went right over my head. But anyways, I have invited Amy to come and join us. And Amy, you are very frequently in the comments. And so I'm pretty glad to have you here. We're
Yay.
talking about fitness and particularly for people over 50. And Amy, you qualify.
Yes, unfortunately, I do.
Yeah. Hey, Josephine. Good to see you here. Thanks for coming. And I know it's a little bit different this week, but just to give a little bit of a recap, we've been doing, Lindy and I extended our fitness little challenge with the Yes to Next website on for another 4 weeks because we were really enjoying it a lot. And there were some definite challenges. And so we figured let's just keep doing this. And so this is our actual 8th week that we've finished on that challenge, and we are ready to announce our new challenge. So I will announce that. But I had the flu, so I had about 2 weeks where I couldn't do anything. And Lindy had her issues too. So we're going to get it all together. But I wanted to just, since you're in the comments so often and so many people haven't officially met you and probably have no idea how I know you, you want to introduce yourself?
Sure. So I've been doing carnivore since January of 24 and seems to be going pretty well. No, it's going excellent, actually. When I first started, I had a situational wheelchair that I used pretty much anytime I was outside of my home. I didn't use it in my home, and I thought about that the other day. Why didn't I use it in my home? Because I never got up to move around very much.
Ah,
So, but I did have to use it because of POTS, Postural Orthostatic Tachycardia Syndrome, and EDS, more so for POTS than EDS. But I couldn't stand up very long. I've got a handful of heart issues. So when I would stand up, my blood pressure would go high sky or drop really low. My pulse would do the opposite of whatever my blood pressure was doing. And so I couldn't stand in one place very long. It was painful to walk. But probably about the second week of March, I was able to put my wheelchair into storage. And that was great feeling. And I couldn't even stand up long enough to fry an egg when I first started.
yeah.
And now I can fry 2 eggs, 4 eggs, whatever. But I can then clean up after myself, and things of that nature. So it's made a big, big difference. So
Yeah.
and I met Lynn in Texas because she doesn't live in Texas, but she was here. So um, I don't even know how we very first connected.
Through Rebecca. So,
Oh,
okay,
yes,
so
Rebecca.
Rebecca is one of Dr. Barry's health coaches. And she actually messaged me and said, "Hey, I think you and Amy may have a lot in common because I have MCAS, you have MCAS and a
Mhm.
myriad of things." And she said that, "Can I put you in contact with Amy?" And I was, of course, yeah, absolutely. And then so we texted a little bit and then we actually got on the phone and talked and talked and talked and talked and talked. And so, yeah, so you do live in Texas. And so when I was down in Texas for Hack Your Health, we connected and we officially met for the first time. And that's where we started talking about the children's books. So we are working on projects together. And I have them here. So a lot of you who watch know that we have these two children's books on the carnivore diet that we have published, and they're on Amazon, and you can find them under her name or my name, either one. And we are in a just in case anyone hasn't seen them. This one here is a comic book and it's an activity book and coloring book. And some of the proceeds for this go to the Healing Humanity documentary. And of course, for both, we have made beef, bacon, butter, and eggs into superheroes. And then the other book is a children's storybook starring Dr. Barry's kids and Granny Barry and our superheroes. And some of the proceeds from this book go to the American Diabetes Society, which was started by Dr. Barry. So, anyways, we are working on a few more. We have got a bunch of books. I mean, one of these things that we're very passionate about is getting the word out about the carnivore diet, of course, but getting tools in the hands of parents and grandparents so that they can help teach the next generation about it, so that they can avoid hopefully having the health conditions that we have. If we had found the carnivore diet when we were children and had been fed the proper diet from the time we were little, how many, some of the things that you experienced were probably some genetics, because you did have a hole in your heart. I don't know if that would have made a difference, or if maybe your mother's diet when she was pregnant, I don't know if that made a difference or not. But how do you think your life would have been different if you had been fed the proper human diet from the beginning?
Well, I can tell you I wouldn't have hated myself like I did. I
Mm,
mean, I think there's always a part of us that we don't like about ourselves, or we don't think that we're pretty enough or whatever. But y'all, I hated myself
mhm.
because I was always so heavy and none of my peers were. Lynn and I are about the same age. I think we are the same age actually. And growing up, there weren't a lot of overweight kids around.
Right.
I was the overweight kid at my school by 20 or 30 pounds, which was a lot back then.
Yeah, for a little kid, that's a lot of weight.
It's so funny. I was just talking to my friend about doing the test, the state test where you have to do so many push-ups and run, and
Hmm.
the test they would make you do. Hated that thing because
Yeah.
it was just like when this person mentioned it, I just had these memories flash back in my head of how much I hated it, how embarrassed I was, how much I couldn't do. But because of EDS, I'm really limber. So I took gymnastics. I was by no sense of the matter a gymnast. Let's don't mistaken.
But you were flexible.
But I was in gymnastics, and I could do one or two of the things on the uneven bars that other kids couldn't do
Yeah.
because I could twist my shoulders around so far. But
Yeah.
anyway,
Do you
I
want to
know.
share? Do you want to share what EDS is?
Yeah,
For
so it's a connective tissue disorder. It's called Ehlers-Danlos Syndrome, and it's connective tissue disorder. You don't make good collagen, and collagen is like the glue that holds you together. And so, basically, I don't make good collagen. It's like it reminds me of maybe like a wicker chair. They're so pretty, but as they age, sometimes that back. I think about the back of a wicker chair. That is it bamboo? There, wicker, whatever it is, wicker,
whatever it
whatever
is. Yeah.
wicker. We'll call it wicker since it's a wicker chair. Just begins to break apart and doesn't hold its form. And so eventually you sit in that chair and it just falls apart on you. And that's kind of what the collagen does. So I didn't know that I had any heart issues until I was in my 30s, late
Mhm.
30s. And but I can remember going to Six Flags with my family as a little girl and having to use a stroller even up till the time I was 7 or 8, just because I would get such bad shin splints and it would just hurt to walk the park. And just so, I mean, from head to toe there was an issue with everything at some
Yeah.
point in my childhood. So gymnastics I did, it was fun, but I was a kid that was active. Ehlers-Danlos syndrome is progressive and it affects everybody differently. Nobody has the same exact symptoms. You have a lot of time very similar symptoms throughout life, but some people can be very active with it. But I
Yeah.
dislocate joints all the time. Since being on a carnivore, though, I dislocate maybe once a week or once every other week. And before, I dislocated something every single day, mainly my thumb, pulling up my britches.
Okay. Wow.
I
So
don't, yeah, carnivore, I don't dislocate as much. And when I do, I recover very quickly.
That's amazing. So I know that when we met in Texas, that you put me through the series of little tests to see if I
Mhm.
had Ehlers-Danlos, and you're pretty convinced that I do. But if I do, it's mild compared to yours. I don't have joints dislocate, but I do have hyper mobility of my joints. In fact, I've been told that before. I injure very easily. And I had to go through a year of hand therapy for a wrist injury back when I was working in the hospital. And the hand therapist was concerned because of the hypermobility that she
Mhm.
saw. And so it could be just that, you have a milder version and you
Mhm.
injure a lot more easily. And so you have to be careful. So that makes it difficult to want to exercise. I know I had good stamina with exercising until I hit puberty. And then I think that I don't know if my face, you know how when you hit puberty, your facial bones and your facial structure changes. And I don't know if what happened or if my something changed in my body where I wasn't getting the air. And I know that I do have and it may be that so I was a very active kid, and I have nephews that were really a lot closer to my age than most people because my sister is 20 years older than me. So I had my oldest nephew is only 4 years younger than me. We used to play sports together all the time. And I at least one time got hit really hard with a I think it was a softball in my nose. And I don't know if that did it, but I have a deviated septum, and it may have even broken my nose for all I know. But I ended up having what I know now is an asthma attack when I was a freshman in high school. And by this time I had really stopped exercising. I was just gone through puberty, was more interested in writing and drawing and art, and instead of running everywhere, which I used to do. But yeah, I had an asthma attack, and I didn't know that that's what it was. And my my gym teacher, didn't say a word to my parents. you know,
Wow.
it was weird. Yeah.
But
And I didn't,
a matter of fact, asthma is very common with EDS because your airways, everything's made of collagen, and that collagen can, be faulty in your airways. And
mm,
it is common to have breathing problems with, I one time was asleep and I woke up to myself choking because my throat had collapsed in on itself. And it's
yeah.
happened maybe twice. It was very scary. I thought, this
Well,
is it.
that's happened to me. Yeah, that's happened to me many times.
And that's a hypermobile thing. So there are I think about 16 subtypes of Ehlers-Danlos syndrome. Hypermobility is one of them. I have classical type, and I doubt that you can see it, but my skin, I scar. Let's see, I'm trying to figure out how. You can almost see the scar on my hand right here.
Okay.
What looks like cigarette paper. So
Okay.
basically, when I have a scar, it looks like a worm, and then it will flatten out over the years, and then it's just white scar. But mine is more skin involvement, so my skin is very loose, and like Rubber Man at the circus, he
Mine's
has,
not quite as loose as yours, but
yeah, because the type I have classical is
yeah.
has looser skin than hypermobile.
Mm.
Hypermobile doesn't have the loose skin.
Yeah, I think my loose skin is normal. I think anybody could probably pinch their skin and pull it out that much.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, I mean, and I'm adopted and nobody else in my family has Ehlers, so I had nobody to compare myself to.
Yeah.
And, so I just thought that's just the way that I was. But definitely, usually, if you have any type of Ehlers-Danlos syndrome, its sister is the devil, POTS.
Pots.
And POTS for sure keeps you from exercising. So
Yeah.
I actually wrote a children's book a long time ago about Ehlers-Danlos syndrome. I had a dog that had Ehlers-Danlos syndrome. Any living thing can have Ehlers, but my dog had Ehlers-Danlos syndrome, and so she tells the story about how it's good to rest, and sometimes you have to pick a game to play that's sitting down instead of running,
Mm.
and that how to, sometimes you have to use an ace bandage if you're going to play sports, and how to protect yourself and things of that nature. So exercise for me has never been something that I've really wanted to do
Right.
because it's like, um, especially with POTS, the number one thing you do to help POTS is exercise, but the number one thing that you absolutely cannot do is exercise.
Right, because you could end up passing out.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So,
Did your
you know,
doctor ever give you any guidance about specifically how to exercise to help your POTS?
well, that's very interesting because my electrocardiologist is who treats my POTS. He actually has an exercise specialist on staff. Lucky for us, I'm rolling my eyes on that one. None of us want, he's a nice guy, but none of us ever want to see him. But
Okay.
he did give us some tips about really not a whole lot, but wearing compression socks when you exercise, just so that, walking around, one of the issues, you want your blood to flow, but with POTS, your blood kind of flows backwards through your body. So when a normal person stands up, their blood runs up to their head, right? Through their lungs to their head, circles around there and goes back down and circles around and comes back up. Well, in POTS, it doesn't do that. It goes down to your feet and it stays there. And your body has to work really hard to get that blood to pump back up to your heart, into your lungs, into your head so that you don't pass out.
Yeah.
So the compression socks help with that. They
Yeah.
help, the muscles, and I don't know, but yeah, so it makes it a little bit difficult to exercise. But again, this guy, he's like, just walk a little bit, or, the stress test that they have you do at this doctor's office is, in my opinion, really ridiculous because he knows we're all sitting at home not moving.
Right. Right. And so we both, okay, so there's something called the unholy triad, and I do believe that both of us have all three of these things, some to varying degrees. So there's just a commonality between mast cell activation syndrome, Ehlers-Danlos, and POTS. And that is considered called the unholy triad because so many people have all three of those. And I guess they're just interconnected. I don't know. We're trying to figure out sometimes what triggers what. Maybe it depends on the individual. But I know that I have orthostatic intolerance, which my understanding is a form of POTS. I don't have the tachycardia. I just have the blood pressure drop when I'm standing for too long. But the exercises are the same. You need, and the compression stockings, that my doctor said abdominal binders. A lot of people will have to use an abdominal binder. And for me, I got better when I was doing my plank challenge in January. And I really believe it's because I was working on my core strength. And so I was developing my own natural abdominal binder. So, but it's hard. So, like, I have an easier time, I think, than you because you have your heart issues, you have your Ehlers-Danlos with the things dislocating, I think creates a special challenge for you. There's a lot of exercises that I can do that you can't do because you don't want to dislocate something. Right. Yeah. Yes. We all need to work on our core.
Mhm.
And, you know, the planks are they're challenging, but yeah, there's other core exercises. Like if you can't do a plank, there's other core exercises. Amy, have you ever worked on some core exercises?
Actually, some, yes. And I used to be a swimmer. So when I was younger,
Oh,
my
good.
exercise, I swam. And
Right.
that's a very safe thing for Ehlers people to do. I have dislocated myself in the pool before, but and really with POTS, I don't think it's very good to wear a binder for your core. Something about your aortic extended aortic valve or something can put too much pressure on it.
Pressure,
Maybe not for somebody my size, but somebody thinner maybe.
maybe.
But I noticed something this weekend though, where I've talked to you about isometrics before.
Yes.
And doing isometrics is how I would work on my core. And I could explain what I do, and I don't know if I'm doing it correctly, but isometrics is basically you're just flexing your muscles and letting them go and flexing
Yeah.
and moving against your own strength. So like if I want to do some arm curls, then I tighten my muscles and try to like fight myself, like I'm having a arm wrestling with myself,
Yeah.
so
It's like
just keeping.
sustaining a contraction. Like, yeah. So like you can flex your arm and as as best as you can, contract that muscle and hold it.
Mhm.
And I love that type of an exercise. It's amazing how quickly your muscle can start to feel strong when you do
Yes.
that.
One thing with Ehlers-Danlos syndrome that's very important to remember, though, with such bad collagen, you get micro tears in your muscles and your tendons and your
Okay.
ligament all the time. So even with that, I would have to be limited, like how many I can do at a time, and then
Mhm.
make sure to take time to rest. Or I don't know if there's warm ups that I need to do or cool downs, but I can tell you, going to physical therapy. A lot of us have to go to physical therapy, and physical therapy is horrible for people with Ehlers, in my own opinion, because I've been injured more time at physical therapy
I
than
can
what I
ima
was there for.
I can imagine.
Yeah. So, but it's just one of those things. The kicker for me is carnivore. Thank God. I went to help a
Yeah.
friend move the other day. I didn't know what I could do. I thought, well, let me go be comic relief and encouragement. I can at least do that.
Emotional support.
So I'm their emotional support animal. Uh, but what I ended up doing was unpacking some boxes at the kitchen. So I sat down on a stool and I was unpacking things and reaching behind me to put on a cabinet. And my neck muscles, and this was so sore in my neck and my shoulders, but I was only sore the next day. I'm not sore now unless I make a dramatic move, then I'm like,
Yeah.
oh yeah, I did that. But I didn't dislocate a shoulder, which shocks me because I can reach behind me and my shoulders, or if I fall asleep in my chair or my recliner, my shoulders just slip right on out of joint and it subluxes. It's not a complete dislocation, but that involves your nerves and your tendons and your muscles and your blood vessels.
Right. It can cut off circulation, it can pinch a nerve, yeah, absolutely.
So it's a little crazy making, but with carnivore though, I'm able to sustain whatever it is I'm doing longer, at least
Good.
before I injure myself. If and everybody has to find that wall, whether you're healthy or you have something like I have, you have the wall that you can get up to, and you need to learn where that is, because if you go past that wall all the time, you're going to have a hard time getting to that
Mhm.
wall the next 5 times you exercise, right? So
Yeah.
you got to, so one day if I could, like if I was going to do sit-ups, for instance, if one day I could do 2 sit-ups and I've hit the wall, I have to stop.
Yeah.
My personality wouldn't let me. I would try to do 10 more. If, so now I've injured myself. Now I can't exercise for however long. So
Right.
exercise is way more than just
Right.
making you move your body.
I have
It's a lot.
experienced that so many times where I have not listened to my body when it tells me it's time to stop because I'm like, this is way too soon. I should be able to do more. And so I push it and I injure myself. And then you're right. Sometimes you're out for another week. At least I would be like, especially if I tweak my knee or did something that would be really painful. Um, yeah, so it's really important, you're right, to listen to your body. Now, do you noticing, you know, I I know you just started January, so you're not quite a year. You're like 11, 10, going on 11 months or 10
Um,
months,
10 months. Yeah.
10 months. Are you noticing that your tolerances are creeping out? You're getting to tolerate more and more?
Yes.
Yeah,
Okay.
good.
So, as an example, I have a storage unit. And so a couple of weeks ago, I hired some guys, somebody donated some shelves to me. And so I hired some guys. We put the shelves and we put all of my storage up on shelves. And now my job is to go and go through as many boxes as I can. And the reason it's been like this for 4 years, I haven't been able to do anything by myself there.
Mm.
Now, because I can go in, go to the back of the storage, pick something off the shelf, carry it to the front of the storage where I'm sitting, sit, do the work, decide where I'm going to put it, go get another box. And I did 4 or 5 boxes the other day,
Excellent.
which I still had things then to put into my vehicle to bring home and to put back in. And, I could have never done that 6 months ago, ever. And my counselor's helping me with that. That's one of the things we do. She's so creative. She used to be a professional organizer. Lucky for me. So, but she comments all the time, things that she used to have to help me do because I just couldn't do them, you know. So my endurance is better. I noticed that with weight loss, it seems like, the little Renfro scale that we use. Uh,
Yes.
so I noticed that every time that I lose at least 2 pounds, I notice that the next day or two, I've gained a pound or two. And I'm pretty sure it's muscle and not water. And
Hmm.
it, because I feel like um, for every pound that I've lost, I could do a stand up, sit down without having to rest after. Do you know what
Excellent. And how much weight have you lost so far?
As of this morning, 54 pounds.
Very good.
So I feel like it should be more, but I have to keep reminding myself one, I'm not exercising. Two, I didn't do this for weight loss. I did this for health, and I knew that the weight would follow. But there's still that old mindset. For me, it's not a vanity issue. If I was going to have a guy, I would have caught one a long time ago. That's, you know, I'm still waiting for my 98-year-old millionaire to show up. And
Oh,
so
that's hilarious.
I've been planning that since I was 12. It's not going to pan out, I don't
Oh,
think.
you're so funny.
But, you know, it's not about losing the weight. It's about being strong so that I
Yeah.
can do the things that I need to do. And I do notice that just even being able to stand up longer, now I not only can stand up longer, I can stand up and talk to people at the same time.
Okay.
That's a
It's
big deal for me.
amazing how things like that are huge.
Yeah.
Yeah, I understand that because that's the thing that I struggle with too. Like if somebody like after church comes up and wants to talk to me, I panic a little bit, to be
Mhm.
honest,
Mhm.
because I'm like, how long is a person going to want me to stand here and talk to them? Because people don't know I have orthostatic intolerance. Some people do, but most people don't know I have orthostatic intolerance. And if I stand there long enough, all the blood's going to drain out of my head and I'm going to be like, I got to sit down and I want them to feel bad, right? So it's nice when you notice that you can stand longer and longer and longer.
Yes. But I'm
It means a
still at
lot.
that point, and that's something too that I mean, it would be my dream to stand up after church and talk to everybody and then still be able to walk to your car and and then go to a restaurant and be able to stand in line while because it's
Yeah.
Sunday and you know that would be great, but it is embarrassing because but here's I handle it with humor. I always say, "Oh my goodness, I want to talk to you. Let's go over here and sit down because if I don't sit down, have a tendency to pass out, then somebody's going to have to fill out a report. And nobody has time for that." And so now I have them laughing and they're not concentrating on, "Oh, she's so heavy, she has to
Yeah.
sit down."
Yeah. Let's avoid a call to 911 if we can avoid it.
That line works every time. Somebody will have to fill out a report and
Someone will have
nobody
to fill out a report. Yep, might be the EMT, but yeah, but it's traumatic for people. Like if you passed out while talking to somebody, it would be traumatic for them. So we need to definitely be proactive if we know that that's, the condition. But you've only been on the carnivore diet now for this long. So I anticipate that it's going to keep getting better and better and
Mhm.
better. And yeah, I mean, the
Well,
fact that
honestly,
you,
I haven't had a day that's been worse, and I think I had a little bit of pneumonia, walking pneumonia, but it lasted for about I think I was down and out for about 3 weeks total.
yeah,
Like one of those weeks being a recovery, but it just didn't last very long. So, but I haven't had a day that I woke up and went, oh man, this is way worse than I felt in January. No, that's not that's not
That's
happening.
good.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's good. Everything is getting better. So I think that, you need to keep doing what you're doing. And it's obviously this diet is doing something for your connective tissue because you're not subluxing with the frequency that you were before.
Yes. And so let's talk about collagen because I'm getting ready to film a video about collagen. And collagen, everybody takes collagen because they want to look younger, they want their nails to look better, they want their hair to grow. But collagen, taking collagen for somebody with EDS, it doesn't work. There's no reason to take it. Your body is not going to get stronger from taking it. Um, your body, because your body can't process it. It's a certain protein. I cannot remember the name of the protein, but whatever protein it is that turns over into collagen, that turnover part is what doesn't work.
Hmm.
So it's like we're using old collagen all the time.
I mean,
Like,
it makes sense because if that worked, you wouldn't have a problem with your own collagen, right?
right, right.
Mhm.
So eating meat, I think what's happening more so than the collagen aspect, and I'm curious. I talk to Dr. Berry about this occasionally, but I'm curious. I don't think it's the collagen issue that's being helped. It's that my muscles, my tendons, my ligaments, everything else is stronger.
Longer.
So it's supporting, it's like I don't know, like babysitting the collagen, holding it up, helping it walk, or
Well,
I
yeah,
don't
I mean, that makes a lot of sense because that's what can help with so many things that are like joint problems. You strengthen the surrounding tissues and provide that support for it, and it helps.
think we should let me show you what the Biden scale is because people that don't know what that is, and a lot of people don't know that they have hypermobility or EDS. It's very common to have EDS. I was told, now maybe the type I have isn't the most popular, but I was told that one, and I think it was 185,000 people. I can't remember the name, I mean, the number now. But I decided that if I went to the Cowboy Stadium, football stadium, that there would be myself and one and a half other person in there that had Ehlers-Danlos syndrome, according to statistics.
Okay.
But that's not true because
Just like
so
MCAS, it's way more common than they
yeah,
say. Mhm.
it's just been gone undiagnosed. So, but
Yeah.
here's if you were ever double jointed as a child, or people said you were double jointed, chances are you have Ehlers-Danlos syndrome because there is no such thing as double jointed. So let's walk through just at least the hand part and maybe the arm part so that we don't
Mhm.
injure ourselves, number one. But the Biden scale was created by Dr. Biden. Uh,
It's not president.
no, 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 no. It's Beighton.
Okay.
Yeah. So,
Oh, hey, Benjamin. Good to
hey,
see you.
Benjamin.
Glad you're here.
I'm Amy, by the way.
Yeah.
I don't think I
Yeah,
know
we got
you.
Amy with us today instead of Lindy because Lindy couldn't make it.
Okay,
Okay,
so
so the Biden scale.
the Biden scale. So you hold your hand out, and sorry that I'm having a hard time with my lovely living room. It's nighttime. Do you like how bright it is outside?
Yeah, yeah.
Awesome. I'm gonna get up and go play the piano for y'all in a little bit. Anyway, so one of the things that happens with Ehlers is this. It's called swan hands, like because it looks like a swan's back. So
Uh,
most people can't do that. Usually, I don't even know if I can make my hands straight. Your hand's usually straight, right? You've got the
yeah.
swan thing going. Okay, so you take your little pinky and you see how far you can bend it back. This would be normal to right here, right? But if you can go further than that, past 90 degrees, and you can see the bend in the top of my finger.
Yeah, I don't think mine can go past 90 degrees.
No, but you got the little bend in your pinky. Do you see
Yeah.
off like okay, so this I would get 1 point for this hand, and I can do the same thing on this hand. So I get 1 point for this hand, so that's 2. The second thing that we check is to see if you can touch your thumb to your arm, and you take your hand and you pull your thumb down to your arm.
Yeah, I can't do that.
So, and
I
this
can
is
get I can get right here.
Okay, and don't, if you're trying this, don't do it to the point that you hurt yourself.
No, I can. That's as far as I can go.
Yeah, just take it as far as you can go. But you can see. So I mean, when I was a kid, I could get my hand flat against my
Yeah,
arm,
I
and
think that the hand therapist that I saw, even though I can't go all the way, said that that was too far.
yeah, yeah. You don't. I don't know. I think you have to touch your arm, but you did go way. I mean, because I think most people can bend and pull your thumb down without. If you can go past here, then you probably are hypermobile.
Yeah.
So I get 2 more points. So far, you're at 0 with to the Biden scale. Now,
Well, I had this, right?
well, that's not really on the Biden scale. It's
Oh,
just
okay.
that's just a sign. There are
Oh,
signs,
okay.
there are things. So the next thing is if your elbows hyperextend. So if you put your arm out and your elbow bows hyperextends, and yours do a little bit.
Yeah,
But
just a little.
can't see mine, but mine hyperextends. Both of mine do. So I get a point for each elbow. Same thing with your knees. If your knees hyperextend,
Mine, I'm always mine do, and they drive me crazy because I could be standing there and all of a sudden my knee will buckle backwards.
yeah,
Yeah,
yeah. So
it
um,
hurts.
it's basically like being bow-legged, but they're bowing back instead of around. And then and as an as you get older, you can't do these as much. So as a kid, you have to think, could I do that when I was a kid? Yes, I certainly could. So I get a point for
Oh,
each
when
of
I was a kid, I could touch my thumb to my
yeah,
arm.
yeah.
Mhm.
So and I'm going to explain what happens to us while we can't do that. I just discovered.
Okay.
But and then if you can bend over and touch your hands flat on the floor in front of you without bending your knees, or if you could when you were a kid.
Yes,
Uh,
I could when I was a kid.
so you have to score 4 or 5 points out of the 9. I still score 9 out of
Nice.
9.
Yeah.
And which people with classical EDS usually are a little bit more flexible than just hypermobile, which means, more injuries. So,
Yeah.
but I think one of the reasons why it's harder and it happens to people when you're older, you stop making as much collagen. That's why
Mm,
everybody's wanting to take
I
it.
see.
And so that collagen is like a shield around your muscles and tendons and joints, and as that collagen lessens, it's almost like it that shield now is becoming brittle, and because of that your muscles have to overcompensate, and they don't work as well, because they're busy trying to hold you together. And
Mm.
so that's how you get really stiff. Older people are stiff because their collagen isn't as good anymore. Their muscles just aren't the problem. It's the collagen, the loss of collagen.
Mm. So, I mean, I always feel as though I am so inflexible. And despite having hypermobile joints, but I've become so inflexible. And I just feel like everything's very tight.
2 reasons for
No.
that, Lynn, I think. One is inflammation.
Yeah.
I didn't understand. I have hemochromatosis. And so inflammation is something that I have to keep an eye on, which I've only known about this for like 5 years. Why I got this old and didn't know half the things I had beyond me. But um, the the inflammation just kind of, it's like filling up a water balloon, and it's full of water and you can't bend it, you can't do anything with it. So that's what inflammation is like inside, and that's one of the reasons why you get stiff. Another thing about with Ehlers anyway, a lot of people as they get older with Ehlers, they are not flexible at all, and it hurts
Mm.
just to, like, if I could just reach over and touch the top of my computer, that's great. Some days that hurts so bad
Mm.
because, my muscles just are, I don't know if they're worn out from, I don't know what the deal is with that, but it, other than I'm older, so I make less of my faulty collagen. So what I'm really holding on with collagen is like scraping the bottom of the barrel or something,
Yeah.
for,
Yeah.
for quality. I don't know.
Yeah. So for you, the isometric exercises, are they, and being in a pool, are those kind of the two things that would be the best for you?
I think so.
Mhm.
Currently, I love to go out for a walk if I can, and I know this sounds really crazy, but I live in a little mobile home park, and my mobile home is right in the middle. And so I think there's three on the right of me and three on the left. And so the mailbox is at the very end of one end, and the trash is at the end of the other. And if I, on a day, can walk to the trash and come back to my house and still be able to do something in the house before I need to sit down and rest, that's success. Same thing with the mailbox. But if I can go take the trash and put it in the dumpster and walk down and get my mail and come home, sure, I might need to sit down for a few minutes and rest and then I can get up. So I love doing that because I feel like I've ran a marathon. Like I've really, my
That's a lot
body,
of exercise.
yes, but I feel so accomplished. But I'm having an issue with my knee right now, and sometimes anyway, I'll step down and I have either torn meniscus or something in my knee, and it will hurt, and then I'm like I can't even walk anymore. I have to stop and rub my knee. Another thing, if you happen to have Ehlers, we have a very high pain tolerance because we're in pain all the time, right?
Yeah.
So that's another thing. I walk through the pain. I used to have a doctor that would tell me, stop walking through your pain. You're doing so much damage to yourself. And so that's why I think isometrics for somebody with Ehlers is a great thing, a great choice, because at least you're
Yeah.
sitting down. You're not putting weight on your muscle. You're not putting weight on your joint, but you're still, your muscles need to be strong to help your joints stay together.
And I think it's a fantastic exercise, just even for people that don't have EDS, that are just not in good shape and want to have a good place to start,
Mm-hmm.
because you don't need any special equipment. You just need your own body. Everybody can hopefully contract their muscle. You can do it laying in bed.
Mm-hmm.
And consecutively contract muscles like from your toes all the way up to your head, and just say, okay, I'm going to contract my calf muscles now. I'm going to contract my hamstrings, and just contract everything from, and then suck in your gut. If you suck in your gut and you hold it in for a period of time, that's an isometric exercise. you know you don't have to do a plank. You can just hold your gut in. And
And you can involve your breathing techniques with it. And you can also, I used to go to a counseling group and we did meditation, which I absolutely hated for different reasons. But we would start at your toes, feel your toes, relax, and
Mhm.
feel your ankles. And they went all the way up to the head. And I hated my body so much. I was like,
I
I
want to
still
feel
want
this.
to focus on it. you know? But you could do an exercise, do your isometrics, and then put at the end of it, you could do a relaxation
Mhm.
technique with it by doing that because you've just focused on everything. And it would be great if you can, like, if I sit and just curl my toes, like to flex I'm going to get cramps in my toes. My
Oh,
bones will
yeah.
hit each other. And I'm like, no, but it will get better if I concentrate and do it
Yeah,
purposely. And I think that's one thing about anything you do with exercise, physical, anything, if you're purposeful with it and
I
not just,
agree.
oh,
Yeah,
let me try this, or that looks like, man, I just need to work up a sweat. And, you
yeah.
know, you have to be purposeful. Do you
I have
think so?
this I agree, and I have the same issue with toes. Like, if I just, like, try to really curl my toes and contract, my foot will cramp.
Yeah.
And so, to work up to that, I just have to kinda, like, little bit of contraction, like, move them like this,
Yeah.
just as much as I can, and all the movement, it's working your muscles. So, we just have to kinda start where we're at and do what we can. But I know Lindy and I always talk about just consistency.
Hmm.
Do something each day. And I've been working on the channel. I don't know if you've looked at the channel that we've been using, the Yes to Next channel. I love the fact, she's got her 80-some-year-old grandmother that's there. So a lot of the exercises she does, her mom's doing in a chair, and she's so gentle with the way she does them. But I may continue to do them even though we're moving on to something else. I may continue to do them because I have found them to be like, and she tells you all these various ways of doing it. You can, do it in a chair, you can hold on to things, you can hold on to the wall, the counter, you can do it with or without weights. So we're doing one today, and she had weights, and I was just, using contracting my muscles.
Mm-hmm.
And that's, yeah, so it's amazing too when you, even when you don't have weights and you just, it's like do some bicep curls and just feel the contraction. You can still feel like you're getting stronger.
It's a good way to thaw out your steak for dinner. Go get it and start doing some
And
meal.
start doing some bicep curls with
I'm
it.
not using peas anymore, canned peas or
Oh
something.
my goodness, that's right. Yes, absolutely. So good. Well, I hope that you're going to be able to, you know, slowly at the pace that's right for you, build up your strength. It sounds like your muscles are already getting stronger and you're able to do more. And, I'm curious. I'm just excited to see how you're going to be a year from now, 2 years from now, you know.
Me too. And that's the thing. Plus, it's very hot here in Texas still.
Mhm.
We're having a cold front, I think, coming in tonight. And I think it might be around 75, 77 tomorrow.
Is that the cold front?
Yes, ma'am. Because it's been in the 80s, upper 80s this week, and it's going to be, I think, in the 90s next week. So that's another thing that keeps me from being able to go outside because with the pots, I do awful with the heat. I swear every summer that it's my last summer to live in Texas.
And I keep sharing with you our Washington weather.
Yes. And one, it's cruel, but two, it's giving me a goal where I'm going next summer. But I've been saying this for like 12 years. It's my last summer to live in Texas, But because it is cooling off, I will be able to get outside and do more.
Good.
Got to get my knee fixed, and then after, it's always something. But
Yeah.
here's something that I think is also very encouraged. Besides just uh, important and encouraging for yourself besides just the consistency. I'm learning that it's not how perfect I do things, by the way. It is just
Yeah.
literally the consistency. The fact that I have prepared 2 meals for myself every day for the past month shocks me. I know most people be like, well, that's not very mature. Yeah, it shocks me because I was not able to do that before.
Right.
But the other thing is that instead of looking, and we're all guilty of this, instead of thinking, I can't lift those 10-pound weights yet, all I can do is the 5. Well, good grief, when you started, you were using
Right.
literally 1 pound. So you have to look at what's better, not what's not better, not what
Yeah.
all needs to get better. You have to write it down, put it on the mirror, say it to yourself, chant it to yourself when you go to bed at night. This is better. I could breathe today the whole day without an issue. I slept better last night because I was more active today. And, you know, you just have to encourage yourself with what is better. Stop
Yeah.
looking at how far you have not come, because that will trip you up. Your mind wants to dwell on the negative.
Yeah. Yeah. No, that's right. And it's good. It's very easy to look at where you feel you should be and get discouraged, but who's to say where each of us should be, where, at right now? I mean, we each have our own journey and we each
Mhm.
have our own health conditions that we're healing from. And so we just have to be patient and show ourselves some grace, but don't make that an excuse to not do something.
Yes.
We need to do something. So,
Yeah, I look at you and I think Glenn can do way more than I can do, but she's been doing this longer. She's lost more
yeah,
weight than I've lost. She's been able to eat different things. She's been able to be outside when it's hotter. She's been able to, you know, and you have to give yourself grace, and you have to know what's best for your body. If we all
yeah,
had the same, the one same thing that would help all of us, we would be nothing but a bunch of robots.
And
And we're
Washington heat is not Texas heat. So I don't know how I would do in the middle of the summer in Texas. Summers in Washington are in the 70s.
yeah.
Sometimes they go into the 80s. So for me, my heat tolerance doesn't really mean a whole lot.
Well, I don't know
But
if this is an explanation at 2 o'clock in the morning. It's 105 outside. You know
that's
what I mean? So
insane. Right,
it's,
that's insane.
and my air conditioner didn't work either. Let's remember in my van.
That's right.
Anytime I went somewhere, I was sitting in I'm not sure I've survived this past summer,
I
honestly.
don't know, but you got to give yourself a lot of credit because you did. I probably would have been dying in that because yeah, but for me, I gauge my heat tolerance based on how much I can do in the kitchen because when I was on disability and before I got healing from carnivore, even if my daughter was in the kitchen cooking, I couldn't even be near the kitchen because just the heat, the rising in the kitchen from her cooking would be too much for me. And I would get dizzy and nauseated and feel like I was going to pass out. And so I couldn't do dishes. you know, I'm not complaining about that, but I couldn't do dishes and run the hot water. I couldn't take a shower that was beyond just lukewarm. So I look at those things as a gauge that I'm doing a lot better. So it'll come for you. It will, and I also test my tolerances too. I kind of expose myself a little bit both on the cold end and the heat end and just kind of start to test those tolerances and I found that I am getting better. You know, can't overdo it, but I am getting better. So,
I am learning to be more graceful with myself. For instance,
yeah.
before the sun shines down on my van and makes it the extra hot part of the sauna because it's already a sauna, but left over from the day before.
Yeah.
But I know that if I need to run to the store, or whatever, I know I need to get up in the morning, go do that, and
Yeah.
be done by 12:30. You
Yeah.
know, at this time of year, and so I'm just being patient with myself. Okay, I plan my day so that I can be in because then I know I can do something else in the evening if I need to because I haven't trashed myself just to
Yeah.
be in the van because I was too sleepy to get up. You know,
Yeah.
so that I don't know. I mean, and if you're doing an exercise routine, that's part of that too. You have to have that discipline to stick to your plan, to do what you can do. And I always have a plan B. If I really need something from the store, and I'm going to say this with exercise, if there's really an exercise that I feel like I need to do, but I just don't feel like doing it, well, then why don't I do a version of it that would be something maybe a 90-year-old would do instead of a 12-year-old?
Right.
So I call and have my groceries delivered if I just have to have them and can't get out. It's kind of the same. You just got to learn how to really care for yourself. And because I hated myself so much, I didn't know how to care for myself in that. I felt like I didn't deserve to have good treatment,
Mm.
especially from myself, because none of this was my fault. I was born this way, but um, you know, I couldn't I don't have anybody here to come behind me and vacuum and do my dishes and,
Right.
fold my laundry or take my laundry and get it out of. I injure myself getting my clothes out of the washer and putting them in the dryer. It never fails. I
Um,
mean, and but it's just one of those things you have to make a decision. Do you want what's best for you or do so depression is something else that's helped by exercise, which I don't
yes.
I want you to talk about that because I know that my depression is so much better now. I know this is really dumb, y'all, but the other day I was going to go get eggs at Sam's, and I thought, oh, this is the last time I went. They don't have any eggs, so I was like, I'm ready if they don't have any eggs because I'm eating mainly eggs right now.
Okay.
Have any eggs? I don't know what I'm gonna do. I got there and there were so many eggs. I was shocked. Before, I would have just already foretold the future of why am I even going to Sam's? Then I would have not been able to get
Talked
any of
yourself
the
out of it.
groceries, and it just would have been overwhelming and horrible. And I don't have any friends that are going to come bring me some eggs. Nobody. I mean,
Mhm.
if they were sick, their friends would come do. I mean, and I would just roll downhill. Now, I thought, oh, wait a minute. If they don't have eggs, let's see. There's about 50 grocery stores between here and Sam's. I could call ahead so I don't have to get out and walk in the store, or I could just go in and maybe find some liquid eggs, or I could just, and it saved that whole episode of nobody loves me, I'm going to eat some worms, I might as well
Right.
shoot myself, to, oh wait, there are options,
So
there
your
are
mental health is definitely better.
so much better. But I
Yeah.
know exercise, and this is one thing I look forward to being able to get out and walk. Exercise helps with depression too. So I'm looking forward to another boost in that.
Yes, absolutely. Absolutely. Well, this is a good segue into introducing what we're going to do for our next challenge. And so Lindy is going into spring, summer. Yes, her winter is ending. Of course, our winter is starting. But we decided, instead of doing a YouTube channel this time, we're going to do a step challenge. And she just got a walking pad, so she can do that, and she has her smartwatch that she got, and so she can track her steps. And I need accountability and motivation, because my doctor, my naturopathic doctor, really wants me to get 8,000 steps a day. And I am struggling. Let me see how many I got today. So, okay, boy. So I did a lot of crocheting today. I got less than 2,000 so far today.
You know what you're not doing? You're not shaking for every stitch, shake your arm a couple of times. It'll give you another. I'm kidding. That's cheating. Don't cheat.
Uh, did Oh, I just got 7 more steps. Thanks. All right, well, forget the step challenge. Just kidding, just kidding. But, I wanted to hang on. Let me find this, get this book. I kinda got this in the book that we just finished in the book club that I do on Sundays. This is the Good Energy book by Casey Means. Um, she talked about the hierarchy of competence. And I think this is what I need to apply or think through with regard to evaluating myself when it comes to me getting my steps, because the goal is to get the 8,000. So, and this has to do with it's a learning model, and it is there's 4 levels. And so level 1 is unconscious incompetence. It means that you're not living the behavior and don't understand why it's important. So when it comes to exercise, I'm not there. So I'm glad. Level 2 is conscious incompetence, which means that you know what you need to do to be healthy, but you're still not regularly engaging in the behavior. That's where I'm at right now. Okay. I know what I need to do. I'm just not doing it. Level 3 is conscious competence, which means that you are enacting the habit regularly and consistently, but must make a conscious effort to make it happen, and you still experience some friction and struggle. Okay. And then the last step is unconscious competence, which is you are enacting the habit regularly and barely need to think about it. It's second nature and just part of your life. So, my hope is that I can get from my level 2 conscious incompetence to level 4, to where, and I know I need to get to level 3. I need to put the effort in consciously and do it. So that's obviously my next step is going to be to go to level 3. And then, but I would love to be able to get to level 4, where it's just second nature and I'm just doing it without even having to think about it. And I think about people who exercise regularly. They're out there doing their thing, and it's like it's just part of their life and they don't even have to think about it, and I've always been really like jealous of those people. Yeah, so I want to get there with regard to making sure I'm getting my walking. And I figure if I can incorporate the movement into my life and get that to where I don't even have to think about it, it's probably going to be a lot easier for me to get other kinds of exercise incorporated into my life. And yeah, so that's what we're going to do. We're going to do a step challenge. So I have to think about I my goal. I don't know if my goal is going to be to do 8,000. Definitely not in the first week, because I've been getting like most days I've been getting somewhere between 2 and 3,000 steps. So maybe 5,000 steps would be a good goal for the first week. And my goal is to kind of add to each one and hopefully work through those stages. So yeah,
That's
so that's
that's amazing that you're already getting that many. So I don't think it'll take you that long before it does become second nature, especially if you can if you're going to go out for a walk, or if it gets too cold and maybe you have to go to the high school gym, or around here that's what we do.
all
Yeah. So, maybe even making that a purposeful thing that you do, something that you enjoy. Um, Even if you had to be creative and, go to a park or the botanical garden somewhere, or something like that, to give yourself, you're still exercising, but it's almost like a treat to yourself,
yeah.
because now you're able to, I watch people. This is something that's very interesting. I'm probably hovering between stage 1 and stage 2, by the way.
Okay.
But I'll notice, I'll drop something and I never just bend over and pick it up. I look at it for a little while and go, do I really need that? Because when I bend over, one, I'm going to
Get
reach,
dizzy.
hurt myself. Yeah, and I'm
Right.
going to get dizzy because I bent over. And and
I
so
so relate.
but I watch people that they drop something, or if I'm around them, and I drop something, they just grab it right away, pick it up, and I'm like, no pause. They didn't think
Right.
about it. It's like second nature. That's how I want to be, obviously, with for sure with picking things up, but which eventually I do pick them up, by the way. But
Yeah, me too.
sometimes I wait till there's a couple of things to pick up. Meantime, just being honest. But that's how I want to be with exercise. I want to be able to, like, for instance, I could go swim. There's a couple places I go swim. One, I could drive 5 miles and go swim. One is 12 miles. Woo, it's really far. But I got to find a parking place. First of all, I got to find something to swim in. I don't think I
You
even have
gotta
a bathing suit.
get into a bathing suit,
Then
right?
then I have to change while I'm there, and then go over to the pool, get in the pool, pull myself out of the pool, have to change again, carry all of my now wet clothes so they're heavier. That's how I injure myself, by the way, doing laundry, taking wet clothes
But
out. The dryer injures me. So now I've got to carry this back to my car. And then by the time I get home, I'm going to be so worn out for that. I'm not getting anything else done at home around the house. So why am I going to go?
right.
That's what goes through my brain. And when you're chronically ill, that's very common for people. So,
Yeah.
you
I,
know,
I remember I remember going through those same gyrations in my mind about going to the pool or the gym. And it wasn't because of the like dislocating anything, but it was just because of the sheer number of steps involved, the
steps,
effort,
the
and I also had extreme exercise intolerance, and knowing that I was not going to feel better
yeah,
afterwards. I was going to be wiped out for days,
yes.
and the
Yeah,
effort wasn't worth it.
yeah, and I mean, honestly, to do a load of laundry, this and I wish more people understood, because they think you're lying. They think you're just being lazy. There's no way somebody, well, you look good. You don't look like you feel bad. It's just so many things. But I was at a point that to do a load of laundry, it would take me 2 days to recover to wash one load of laundry. That's not getting it out of the dryer and putting them away, mind you. So, I mean, and the more I it's not the more that this is so key for me. And I have to keep encouraging myself with this. I'm not feeling better because I'm exercising. I'm
Right.
feeling better because I'm being consistent with what I'm putting in my mouth and what
Yeah.
my body is learning to be consistent with what I'm putting inside of it as well, because it's a workout for my body to digest the food,
Yeah.
because I ate. So all of us are at that point when we were eating so poorly. Our bodies had a big workout when we started digesting the good food, so exercise is kind of the same way, you know for sure. Oh,
I just had to throw something at my husband because the dog's barking and he's not doing anything.
I couldn't even hear the dog, so
That's
that
why I muted myself. Like he's got his earbuds in. Okay, so I do live streams frequently, right? And so I have this crocheted puff. It's like a shower poof, but it's too dense, so I don't use it in the shower. I put it at my desk, and I told him if I need to, like, he's sitting over there. If I need to like get his attention, I'm gonna throw it at him. So
Right.
I just did that.
Relax.
Okay, all right. Well, we've been going for an hour. I am so glad that you were able to join me today. And Lindy will be back. And Lindy and I are going to plan something. And we may wait till next week because I know she's been going through a lot. Her daughter's been having, with her eye, has been having a lot of issues. So, she's got to be a mom first and focus on her daughter. So, we may just wait until next week. But we had talked ahead of time and decided we're going to do this step challenge. So I if you want to join us and do whatever goal you think you could hit, I don't know. Do you have a watch that tracks or something that tracks your steps?
I don't know if I do, and I would do better to time it. Can I do 3 minutes or 5 minutes?
Oh yeah.
I think I would feel more successful that way than
Yeah.
too many.
Perfect.
Because listen, I'll challenge myself. I'll have a competition with myself,
And then
and
overdo it.
yeah, I really will. I go see my knee doctor next week, so I'll know if I can do that or do something else with the
And
challenge.
I mean, you can walk just around your place, too. I mean, like I do that sometimes I live in Washington State, and so we're coming into a lot of rainy weather.
Mhm.
And so I either have to decide to just put on my rain gear and go out and walk in the rain, which I could, or do circuits all around my house inside, which I do sometimes, or go to the mall if I don't want to, but if don't want to drive, I could do, just walk around the inside of my house. So,
Well, I think it's really exciting because I'm also going to be talking to some different doctors very soon about some EDS issues.
mhm.
And I think a lot of times with EDS, we don't know how to protect ourselves emotionally, mentally, or physically, you
Yeah,
know, and and so I desperately want to do, I've been for a long time in and out watching because I want to join these challenges, but I know that I'm going to injure myself, and
right.
so
We don't want
just
that.
having the knowledge behind, there are things that what alternative things can I do? Because I can still do things to get my heart rate up that
Right.
might mimic if I were walking, but how do I do that? So I just want to encourage people that even if you don't have EDS and you haven't moved for 5 years and you decide you want to do this, Dr. Berry always says you cannot just get up off the couch and start doing stuff because you're going to injure something and then you're
Right.
going to have to sit back on the couch for a long time.
Right.
So alternative ways to do that,
Yeah.
what you can do. And just sitting watching TV, you can flex your muscles for 5 hours if you want to, and it's not the same movement as walking, but it still does the
Yeah.
same for your heart. Get
Or
your
if
heart
you're
rate.
brushing your teeth, you can stand there and brush your teeth and you can go up on your toes and down and up and
Yeah.
down and up and down. And that'll work out your calves and that'll also get your blood pumping. So there's always things you can do. Excellent. So I know you have a fairly new channel. You want to tell what your channel name is?
So my channel name is Amy, a carnivore created in secret. It's on YouTube.
Okay, Amy Carnivore Created in Secret. I'm going to write that in the
It's
comment.
actually Amy, a carnivore created in secret. I wanted to use correct
Oh,
English.
a carnivore created in secret.
Yeah. So I have a progress video on there. If you have anybody that's, like, I don't want to do that carnivore diet, it's not going to help me. Go watch my my progress video. It will encourage you. It will encourage them. So, yeah.
Excellent. Excellent. And again, you can find our books, and you've got more books besides just these two that we have. And I have four coloring books that I've published. So you can find our books on Amazon. And yeah,
If you
so
have a child in your life, a niece, a nephew, if you have no small children, get a book, donate it to your local elementary school or middle school, or take it to your local library because it's packed full of information for people they need to know. And if you happen to get a book, leave a review. It's not,
yeah, definitely.
it's
Yeah.
so that other people can find it more easily.
Yeah, we're in the kind of infancy stages of promoting the books, and it's going to be, a long process, and where it takes time to get a book recognized. So we're hoping to have quite a few books out there for kids about carnivore. We're working on a mystery series, and so Dr. Barry actually asked us to do a mystery series for him, and so for him, and he was going to endorse him. So we're working on getting that going. So it's more to come in the future.
Yes, we've set a soft, I'll call it like a soft opening. We've set a soft goal maybe to have this one finished by the end of November. Probably won't happen, but I think that was kind of our soft goal, our
So
soft opening goal.
yeah. So we will see, but it will get done. We're
Our
definitely
story's done. We're just getting ready to do all the inside
all
stuff.
the other stuff. Yeah, awesome, and the illustrations and everything, which is fun. Awesome. Okay. Well, I'm going to go ahead and thanks to everybody for joining us. I'm going to go ahead and end stream and plan and look forward to seeing you with Lindy. I'm assuming it's probably just going to be next week, but if we plan something, we'll get it on the schedule and we'll meet sooner.
All right.
All righty.
Cool.
Bye.